Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to make your own wicks. The reason why I'm doing this is because I've done my candles here, but I want to do these molds. And these molds, I went and I purchased some wicks here, but these wicks are too small, so I need the wicks to be longer. And so in order to do that, I'm just going to use regular twine, this 100% cotton twine, and it's like butcher's twine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that prepared in order to have my wicks to be really good and to burn for a long time. You know, smokeless, or like having a little, as little smoke as possible, but you want them to burn for a very, very long time. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This recipe is going to call for some borax, and I don't have any borax, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own. So I have come over to the stove here, and I have put a 1 cup of baking soda in a pot. And basically I'm just making washing soda. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but this is how you would use, instead of using detergent, this is how you make homemade washing detergent. You would just take your baking soda and you put it in the stove and you put it on high or medium high basically until it starts bubbling. And this is causing a chemical reaction. So you want to make sure you open up all your windows, you know, some vents that you want to have going on, because this is causing that chemical reaction. You don't want to breathe this in. So we're just going to boil this until it stops making those, if you can look at it, it's almost like a little geysers in the water. It's kind of cool. But that's releasing that chemical gas in there, that chemical in there. So, and it's all natural. So there's nothing, you know, it's not like a, you know, machine-made or man-made chemical. So it's just regular baking soda. I've got a cup here, and we have it on medium high, and I'm just letting it cook and letting it do its own little thing here, and let it, you see all that? Wow. Just keep stirring it up. Don't let it burn. You know, just make sure it doesn't burn, but you just want to just keep going around and around until it stops doing that bubbling. Okay, when that's done, we can start our candle wick process. Okay, as you can see, my baking soda is not having any more issues with that little chemical process happening. So you don't see any more of those like little geysers in there spouting off. And the powder has actually gotten really fine. It's almost like a tapioca powder is what I can consider it to be. So this is exactly the way we want it. So this is now washing soda. It's kind of neat that you can wash your clothes with this if you want to. Of course, it's a lot cheaper than the detergents out there. Baking soda is like $1, I don't know, I don't even know how many ounces you can get for $1, but it's not as expensive as the detergents out there that you're buying at the store. So, and it actually does work. So, anyways, now that our washing soda is ready, or our borax, which we've made ourselves, we're going to use that in our ingredients here. Let me go again get the ingredients together, and I will show you how to get our candle wicks going. Okay, so I brought over my borax or washing soda that I've done, and here is my mold, my candle mold. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to squeeze the top of it, and I'm going to poke my needle all the way down in through there. Okay, and then I'm going to take that and pull it all the way through, because I need to have enough wax to mess with, you know, to get it right, to let it set right. So, and then I'm going to use my scissors and give it a little space. So just to have enough space on both ends, I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And let's see, I have 5 molds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I have 5 molds. So I want some here, some at the end, just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to pull that out. And this is what I'm going to measure. I need 5 of these. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. Five of these ready. 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. And I am going to make one more just so that I have one for measure when I want to do it again. I won't have to keep measuring it. So anyway, I've got 5 wicks here, or 6 wicks actually. And what I want to do now is I want to make the solution. So what I'll do is, I'm going to take one of these out of here. That's for measuring. Okay, so I got my 5 wicks, and I'm going to make my solution. And my solution to that, and we're going to let these soak, okay, overnight for 24 hours. Okay, so just this twine soaking for 24 hours. And I've got a cup and a half of water, hot water. And to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of salt. Regular table salt. 1. 2. Okay. And then we need our washing soda. And 4 tablespoons of our washing soda. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there you go. There's 4 tablespoons of washing soda. And I'm just going to stir this up really, really well to get that dissolved in there. And this is hot water, so it should dissolve really easily. Now you could keep the solution and put it in a little pint jar for yourself. That way you don't have to keep making this. And then you can just use your wicks and dip them in there, you know, overnight and get prepared for your candle making the next day. So this is going to be a 2-day process, just so you know that, okay? Because you need this to soak. Okay. Well, I said, yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be a 2-day process. It might take 3 days if you let it dry, if you let the wicks dry, but depending on how long it takes to dry, I guess. But I think I've got most of the powder dissolved, should be. Now I'm just going to take my wicks. And I'm going to do them one at a time. I just want to make sure that I get them soaked really well. So we're going to just throw them in there. Let them soak in there. Go. And make sure you tell everybody in the household, don't touch this, because they will, you know, wonder what it is, or maybe you think that it's time to, you know, do the dishes. But make sure they don't touch your solution. So we're just going to let those soak for 24 hours. And we'll be back. Alright, I had some wax that I had previously used and put some fragrance to. This is my oats and honey fragrance. wax. This is like a semi-yellow kind of wax. And what I've been doing is taking those wicks that we soaked and let dry. Now they're completely dry, and so as you can see, they're pretty limp. So what I'm going to do now, I get to, because we let them dry for a couple days, make sure they're nice and dry. So now we get to dip them in the wax of our choice. And since I had some old wax on hand, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I put this jar in like a water bath basically and let that heat up. So I'm just going to stick this in there and let it drip out of there. Kind of wave it around and let it cool a little bit to touch. And then I'm just going to soak the other end in there. Pull that out, do the same thing, and just let it drip. Now while it's semi-hot, or warm I should say, it's pretty warm right now, so I'm just going to take my fingers and just kind of run it along. I got my little cup of pieces here. I'm just going to kind of smush it into that wick and get all that good wax pushed in there and get it all nice and straight. See how it's just kind of straightening up that wick right there. It's making it nice and hard, and you just want to keep doing that to the whole wick. You don't need a lot of wax to do this. So whatever pieces that you have, just kind of just run your fingers. So it does get a little bit messy, but what I'm trying to do is when I'm using my, I have to use my molds, and so it has to go through, has to be small enough to go through my mold top. So it can't be a really fat wick. And my mold top is very small hole here it's got to go through. So if I try to push it through that hole, it's going to break all that wax anyway. So just want to get any excess off of there. And if you notice it's really nice and straight now, you can bend it, shape it to size, and that's what we want. So I have a few here that pieces here that I need to get done. And I'm just gonna put those in there, soak it, get nice and wet, bring it out, kind of give it a couple shakes, get that excess wax off of there. What's nice about these jars is these, you know, these quart jars here, you can put them in that water and they stay hot for a while, so your wax will stay hot for a while you're doing this. So I'm just going to reverse it and stick the rest in there. Get that nice and coated. Bring it back up. Tap that extra off of there. I'm going to work with the other end first while that one dries. I just want to smush that wax right into there. Just roll it with your fingers. Get it nice and coated. There we go. I'm going to go to the other end. And that's how we're going to do our wicks. And then once I get these wicks done, I will go ahead and try to do my mold here. Now there was some type of spray people are using for their molds to make their molds release better. These molds I just bought off the internet, so they were really cheap. I'm not sure how well they're going to work for me, but we're going to try it anyway. I'm used to just doing the glass, um, candles. I'm not used to doing molds, so I figured I'd, go ahead and try it and see if I can actually do it. So we're going to try it and see. If I make a mistake, you guys will see my mistakes, and hopefully you guys won't do my mistakes, and we'll just learn together how to get this done. So tap that excess out of there. Dry up a little bit here. There you go. Flip it. Put that in there. Tap it. Okay, so when I'm done with all these wicks, we'll be right back. Okay, let me show you how I did this. Right now I've got my wax on the stove here. It's getting hot, and I had to refill it back up with water, so that's got to come up to boiling, and then I put my jar back in there, so now it's all got to get reheated back up again. So while that's doing that, I'm going to show you guys how I just put this together. On one end, you see I have this little needle. So I'm going to flatten with my thumb. I'm just going to kind of flatten it down where it's nice and flat here. I don't know if you can really see that, but let's see, nice and flat. Piece of hair on there. Sorry about that. There. Where are we at? Kind of make it nice and flat as you can get, so you can get it through that needle. And I just want to push it kind of through there, then get it in there, just so it'll stay while I'm pulling. There we go. Get it through there, and you just kind of want to bend it a little bit so it stays flat. So if you got it, just kind of get it bent and then bend it onto the needle here so it sticks. Okay? On the very end, we went ahead and we squeezed that together and poked a hole with that needle. Made sure all my molds have a hole in here, so you could poke through here. See how I got it in there? Okay, so now we're just going to push it all the way through, go in the mold, pull it through, pull it all the way out. There we go. And you just want to keep pulling till you get about that much. Okay, because you want to be able to squeeze it here and bend it so it lays flat. That way when you tip it up, because this is going to be our top of our candle, this is what it's going to look like. So we want to make sure it sits nice and flat. You want to make sure it sits nice and flat. It's going to be a little bit wonky, but it's going to be okay. Then I'm just going to take this off the wick, my needle off the wick, and see how it just sticks right straight up, because that wick is so good. It kind of just sticks right there. You don't really even need to have anything to hold it. It's so strong right now. So that's awesome. So what I have here, now I have 2 molds, and I'm waiting on my wax to get hot, because I'm going to pour it in a container that has a little spout on it so I can pour it evenly into this mold. And then once the mold sets, we'll take them out and reveal it, what it looks like. Now I have no idea what these molds are going to look like, because I just got these off the internet. Like I said, they were kind of like a, I don't know, you buy something and you get these molds for free. So they came with, can't remember what I bought, but for candle making, but these molds came with it. So I figured I'd give them a shot, see how well they work. Some molds, they have a crack on the sides, and you put little rubber bands around them to keep the mold together before you pour. But these ones don't have that, so I'm not really sure how this is going to work peeling it off of there, and I hope I don't break the wax, because these are really small. So we'll see how that all works out here. And so I will be right back when my wax is melted. My wax is melted. I'm just going to pour off the top here. And I'm just going to take this, set it to where I can pour it. Actually, what I want to do, right, is, let's see if I can, I won't be able to do that. Well, my glass, I'm going to take my glass and put it a couple minutes in the microwave. That's what I'm going to do. I need to heat this up a little bit. Because when I pour the wax in there, I don't want the wax to solidify when I pour it into my container. Because I want it to be hot when it goes into the mold. So if the glass container is hot, the liquid is hot, everything remains the same temperature, and we should be good to go for at least one pour. And then I'll look at it and see if I need to re-melt anything else. So let me see. It's been in there for 30 seconds. How hot is it? It's hot. 30 seconds. Put it in there. And I'm just going to pour this, hold it, pour it, pour that in there. There we go. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to do one at a time here. So I'm going to hold the wick. I'm just going to pour. All the way up to the top. I see why it just kind of just fell to the wayside. So that ain't good. So what I'm probably going to end up having to do is, I wonder if I could still bend this and kind of attach it to the side here. I'm not really sure. Let me see. That is not going to work, is it? Well, it's still way too hot. So let me see if I can get what I used last time, toothpick, jars. I doubt if this will work, but we'll see. We will see. Since this will be on the bottom, it's not really going to matter, right? So I just want to place that in the middle, just fold it over. I think that'll work. That'll work just fine. Now, try these ones here. I'll probably end up doing the same thing over there. I'm just going to do one candle for now because I just want to see how it's going to work out. Because they use a spray to kind of get the mold out. So if I do one, I don't want to do another one and then have problems with it. So if I can get this out of the mold pretty easily, then we're fine. If I can't, I'm going to end up having to use some type of olive oil or something like that and put that in there and kind of give it a wipe with some olive oil, spread it around there, and there's some Pam spray or something like that. But I think the Pam spray's got bubbles in there and I don't want the bubbles. So we're going to have to do something about getting some oil or something in there so it doesn't stick. We'll see about that. Okay, so I'm going to pour this back into my jar. I don't want it to solidify. So we'll put this back into the jar. And I'm going to turn off the stove. I'm going to let this cool down. And we'll go from there. Once it's cooled down, we'll see what happens and we'll be able to take off that mold. But for right now, let me just turn everything off. turn the stove off and just let this cool. And when it's done, when it's nice and cool, we'll be back. Okay, so the top right here looks like it's pretty cold. I have, see how dark this outer rim is, and I'm able to kind of just peel it from the corner edge here. So, and it's still warm. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that chance and see if I can take this mold out of here. So I'm gonna remove this, remove that toothpick out of there, and I'm just going to see if I can fold it over and release this mold without damaging it. I don't know, we'll see. Looks pretty cool so far. Just gonna kind of just peel it slowly off. Granted, these molds aren't very big, so I do want to be careful as I start to peel this off. So I'm going to kind of push from this end and peel, kind of like a banana. So I'm going to take my time, just kind of fold it on down if I can. Let's peel it from a banana. I don't know if it's going to do it or not. It looks pretty clean though. Let's see. That looks pretty cool. Hopefully I can get it all out of here without it breaking. That's the intention. Peel it off without it breaking here. And it looks like I didn't have to spray it at all. It'll just kind of come out of here. Just be careful. You get to that top. Looks like it's coming all, ooh, it came all the way off. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. That is so awesome. Look at that. That is a pretty candle. Oh, you can really see that. That's pretty awesome. So I'm going to take some scissors. I'm just going to cut that bottom off. And snip that bottom off. There we go. And I will, I've got a little hot plate that I like to use for little things. Let me see if it actually, well, actually it does kind of, it sits pretty nice. I don't even think I need to, I don't think I even need to make it flat. If it wasn't flat or sitting flat, I probably would probably take a hot plate, maybe take some wax paper or parchment paper, lay it on the hot plate, kind of rub it on that hot plate so where it's nice and flat, and that way it would melt, and it would melt so it would be nice, it would stand straight up. That's pretty awesome. Now I can trim the wick a little bit. That's how I want it to look. Probably about the size of my finger, maybe the tip of my finger. There you go. That's about all you need. That candle turned out really well. I'm very surprised. It's really nice. And if I wanted to, I could use my candle dye, make this a different color, and try it again with a different color. But once I start dyeing it, that's it. I don't have to pour it all into the same vessel here as far as keeping it one particular color. But since this is oats and honey, I think I'm just gonna leave it like it is, and it smells, these smell really good with the oats and honey. So yeah, I think I'll use those wax. There is a little bit of residue on these molds, just a little bit, but you might want to just push it inside out and make sure that it's nice and clean before you form another one. But yeah, they turned out really well, and I didn't have to spray it, so that was even better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try my other molds and see how those turn out. But yeah, that's pretty nice. Just clean those up, flip them back inside out again, get it ready for another, another run. But it's turned out pretty well. So hope you guys learned something today. I sure did. So enjoy your candle making. And thanks for watching, you guys. Love you.